Hello again, Greg Franke welcoming you back to another edition of BCSN Sports Flash, and this is actually the second part, a follow-up edition of our previous one. We're talking to two young men that I'm sure that you're very well acquainted with in Hunter Gandee and Braden Gandee, the two gentlemen that actually teamed up to hike 57 miles, Braden on Hunter's back to promote the awareness of cerebral palsy, and Hunter was the Sports Illustrated High School Athlete of the Year and interviewed on many of the major networks, and it's been our great privilege to add our organization to the long list of media interviews that you've had here today. And we couldn't cover everything in our first discussion, so we'll kind of get into the actual event now. But I guess talking about all of these different media outlets that have picked up on your story, that's not at all something that you thought of when this whole thing began. It must be pretty amazing to think how this thing has just gathered a life of its own and really become something far beyond what you ever could have conceived it would be.
Yeah, originally going into it, we thought it was going to be a community effort. I was kind of worried because I thought maybe at times, it would be just me and Braden walking alone together. And then actually getting into the walk, we realized that it was the people around us that, their support helped push us through, and that the small window that we would be reaching, it actually would have affected our walking. And we just were so thankful for the support that had opened up and all the people that had heard our story. As awareness was our main goal, that was our main focus, and we accomplished much more than we ever thought we would be able to.
And you've had stories of people recognizing you way, way miles away from here and just coming up, and they've seen you on TV or seen your story and said how much they admire what you did. That's got to be kind of a good feeling, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a great feeling, when people come up and we actually get to hear personally what people have heard from our story, what they've taken from it, if they've had a personal experience where they've actually been affected or they've thought of, and it's made a difference in their lives. That's really what touches us the most.
What about you, Braden? How does it feel being famous?
I like it, but some parts I don't like it.
What don't you like about it?
All the interviews, sorry to say.
Sorry about that.
It's fine, just sometimes I like to be a normal kid again.
Yeah, you want to have a little privacy sometimes, right? Yeah. Does that happen when you're just walking around even now, or because the people, we talked about this a little bit, the people that knew you before, were they starstruck for a while, but now they're kind of like they realize that you're still the same guys?
Yeah, especially at school, it's where I've really seen that example. At first, my friends were like, "Whoa, I saw you on this station," or "Whoa, I saw you on this website," and now they just like, "Oh yeah, you were there," and they've just kind of gotten used to it.
And maybe that's good, right?
Yeah,
get back into some normality.
It means that we're continuing to spread our awareness. Even though the people here are still hearing about it, we're continuing to spread our reach further.
Well, we were talking about this a little before we started, about this idea of being famous and not really having planned on that. But there's fame and there's fame. And we talk about, obviously, being a sports channel. We cover sporting events and players play great games and they win and those kind of things, which is all great. But it's one thing to be famous for winning a game. It's another thing to be famous because you did something constructive, something positive that's going to impact a whole lot of people in a positive way. That's really the kind of fame that is really special and meaningful, and I'm sure that you've really understood that too.
Oh yeah, it's just a blessing to us to see all the people that have heard our story and how they've accepted it, not only accepted, but how they've really tried to spread our word, and just they've continued to help us spread awareness, and they've been so much help to us, and just so much the support has really driven us.
Yeah. So let's talk about the walk itself. And you mentioned at the beginning you thought maybe just be you two walking alone. And there's a very famous song called "You'll Never Walk Alone." And I guess you probably understand the meaning of that more than you ever could have imagined now, because that's a lonely road, I can imagine. And I'm sure that the support of the people that were with you along the way and the people who you knew were remembering you and their thoughts and their prayers and so forth, that had to really go a long way towards continuing to push you to the beyond maybe the limits of endurance that you realize that you could do.
Oh yeah, my friends that walked with me, they mean the absolute world to me. Just that they were there for me, supporting me, helping take my mind off of walking, because when you're walking for 2 days or 3 days, over 40, 57 miles, it's kind of monotonous, just step after step. But when you have friends around you, when you have people supporting and cheering you on, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have had a lot of attention, but it wasn't all glamour, was it?
It was a lot of attention, but again, it was good because awareness was our cause. It's what we were going after.
Kind of gives you a sense, like when you think about sports and the support of the home crowd and all that, and how they can inspire you on and that sort of thing. I guess it really, maybe even a greater sense, you experience that out there on the road.
Oh yeah, when people are cheering, you get that extra burst of adrenaline, whether that's in wrestling with me or if it's walking when we're at the end and it's getting difficult and we're really kind of struggling maybe at times and it's getting kind of hard. My friends are around me and they're encouraging me and people are there cheering us on and they helped carry us through the end.
What about you, Braden? Knowing that you had your friends there supporting you, did that help you? Because as we mentioned before, it wasn't just hard on Hunter to have to walk all that distance. It wasn't easy to be the rider either, was it? So was it helpful to see all those people that were out there really giving you a lot of moral support?
Yes, it was very helpful because me and Hunter feed off of the energy for the walk. So that really helped, just that extra burst of energy of the people around us just helps us to get through.
You think you could have done it if it had just been you two out alone on a lonely road?
That's originally what we had planned. We thought, I would have friends here and there at times, but then throughout the middle of the first walk, I actually began realizing just how thankful I was that my friends were there because without them, without all of our supporters, we wouldn't have made it.
Yeah. So you mentioned wrestling, and one thing that I've picked up on over the years in covering all the different sports is if there's one sport that really just tests you and taxes you right to the limits, it's wrestling. And I would have to think that you're being a serious wrestler, you had to be in great physical condition for one thing, and that certainly had to help, but also the mental aspect of it, that had to, in addition to the things that we've talked about with the support of your friends and just people who embrace what you were doing, that had to be an important thing too to help you to succeed with this.
Oh yeah, wrestling, it's taught me so many life lessons, and it really helped with the walk on 3 different levels, I guess. The physical aspect, of course, have to be in great shape to wrestle. Wrestle well, you have to be in great shape, and I had to be in good shape to carry Braden on my back for a long way. The mental aspect, just telling myself, I can do this, I can go one step farther, I can finish this, and the most important was in the heart. I am going to do this because I need to do this. When I'm on the mat and I'm wrestling for my team, I'm going to win this, or I'm going to do this because my team needs me. Yeah. And that's kind of what I thought. I'm going to push through this because this is for my brother.
Yep. And you have a training regimen called a grind match, and you were mentioning that when you're out on the road. Tell everybody what that is.
Yeah, so a grind match in wrestling, it's just it's to build endurance and to build just the mental toughness for wrestling that is needed. It's a match we just go. Sometimes we do it in practice every once in a while, and we just wrestle straight full go for anywhere between 20 minutes and an hour, and it really tests you, and it's all mental. There is a physical aspect to it, but it's all in your mind, and you just got to push through it, and that's kind of what the walk was. It was a physical difficulties. We did experience many physical difficulties because of just the what it was just through the walk, but it was all in our heads and in our hearts, and we knew that we had to do it, and that's how we finished it.
So to a certain extent, you could project yourself into that grind match in times when you might have been totally exhausted in wrestling training, and it helped you realize that I can get through this.
Oh yeah, I knew I was tired. I could feel my body, how sore I was, but I also had my mind and my heart telling me, you know what, you're going to do this, you got this, you're going to finish this because it's what you got to do.
Yeah, and Braden, you're a wrestler too, right? Hunter even is kind of training you with that. So did knowing about how tough you have to be a good wrestler help you to get through it as well?
Yes, that helps me a lot. And wrestling has really taught me a lot of life lessons
What's the main life lesson you think it's taught you?
that you need to work hard to achieve your goals.
Well, that is got to be right up there with the most important lesson that you can possibly learn. By the way, we were asking about you guys' future goals. What did you say you wanted to be when you grew up?
A biblical archaeologist.
Yeah, a biblical archaeologist. And why did you decide that?
Because I wanted to be a pastor and an archaeologist. So I just put in the biblical archaeology is what I would like to go into.
So you have a little bit of both of those things. Well, you go to the Holy Land and you can maybe make some great archaeological finds, and you'll be famous for another reason. What about you? What are some of your future? Because some of this has sort of opened up a lot of new vistas for you, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, I've just been blessed to have so many opportunities and so many connections laid upon me. My networking, it's a lot bigger than your average high schooler. I've met so many amazing people who have influenced and who continue to influence my life just every day. And I want to really keep open my options. I've got definitely several things in mind, but I definitely want to keep my options open as I have so many opportunities that I think I want to take some time to think about it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that the impact of this is going to have a major effect in the experience that you've had and the direction that you choose, and that's certainly going to help you to be very, very successful and really helping other people in your entire life path as you've done here. So that's certainly very commendable and great. Now, one final thing, I guess that you said that we could talk about. You're going to do this again, and you had a 40-mile march and a 57-mile march, and now you're even going to go beyond that. What's the next thing on the docket?
So we were just really thinking. We thought that we wanted to do one more, and really we were just praying about it for a long time.
You better get it done because he's going to get too big pretty soon. Right?
Yeah. We were thinking, this is if there's ever a time to do one more, it's got to be right now, or else he's going to be my size, and that would be a little too difficult. So we were really praying just about what we should do, what the plan was for us, and just asking God what He wanted us to do, and we felt like He was leading us down this path that we're going to take, and we're going to do a 111-mile walk from my high school, actually, to Lansing, the capital of Michigan, the Capitol building, actually.
State Capitol,
we're gonna
right?
walk to. Yes, and it's going to be a long ways. We're actually going to go earlier this time. The past two walks have been early June. This time we're going to go end of April because we're going to be passing through the University of Michigan's campus as well as Michigan State's campus, and we want to reach the college kids before they get out for summer break.
Right.
So we're going to go a little bit earlier this time. So it's going to be a challenge, but we've been training, and I think we're up for it.
What's the time period you're talking about? So it's going to take a little longer than the 3 days it took you to go 57 miles.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to take a little bit longer,
about a week
or else we'd be sprinting, and I think that's a little too far for me to run.
So you're looking at 6 or 7 day period, or?
We're looking at 6 days right now.
Yeah.
6 days, April 20th through the 25th.
Yeah. So you up for it again, Braden?
I'm up for it.
All right. Well, hey, with that kind of attitude, you can't fail. And I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of support for that, just as you have in the past. And you really have done some great work, and you've opened up a lot of people's minds and awareness as you planned, and then a lot of great benefits, too, that just sort of came about, as tends to happen when you just sort of let yourself go and pursue a dream like that. And it's been great to talk to you guys today. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Hunter Gandee and Braden Gandee, 57-mile march, and they're going to even probably almost double that, in fact, 111 miles to the state capital of Michigan. So stay tuned. They're going to be continuing to accomplish a lot of great things. And that'll be it for this edition of BCSN Sports Flash. Craig Franke saying so long.